Usually, when folks talk about their diving trip, you picture the sun, swimsuits, a nice boat, blue waters, colorful fish, and all. Well, that is not the case all the time. Some people love diving so much, they would turn into storm chasers going right for the eye. This year, August was not that great. Most of the dives were canceled. Believe me, what you see here are lucky people. It got better when we got close to the diving site, though. We are riding with Aquatic Safari from Wilmington, North Carolina, heading to the Hyde, one of the most visited shipwrecks in the region. It's time to jump in. When in the water, besides the lack of light deep down there, we immediately forget about the storm. Before the structure even appears, we meet swirling schools of silver bait fish and colorful tropical fish, spadefish schools, fast hunting amberjacks, and a few non-shy barracudas. Closer to the deck, the marine life gets richer. At every depth and every side, there's something different to see. The famous barracudas come to check us out closer when we get down and when we end the dive. We dove the Hyde last year at the same time, but it seems a totally new, exciting dive every time we visit her. There are more groupers down here this year. They seem to be hanging out at the bottom of the bow and starboard area. We swim deeper. It is dark due to the dark clouds outside. The encounter with this little friend, who had a lot to tell, apparently, was awesome. Or maybe it was pissed that I woke it up and wanted some kind of face-off. Made my day. Not too far from it, even without a prescription mask, I was able to spot something. Yep, it's a fluke blending in with the floor. I saw you, but nice try. The Hyde is a 215-foot ocean-going hopper dredge. It was built in 1945 in Wilmington, Delaware, and saw service in Atlantic, Pacific, and Honolulu. Because the Hyde was constructed during World War II, it was one of the few dredges outfitted with guns, armor, and a gun crew. Today, the Hyde sits upright in 85 feet of water, 18 miles from Masonboro Inlet. It was sunk by North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries in 1988. North Carolina is also referred to as the Graveyard of the Atlantic. More than 2,000 ships have sunk in these waters since people began keeping records in 1526. Hundreds of wrecks are within recreational diving limits, and in the summer dive season, Gulf Stream influences can make conditions almost Caribbean. And that's the best thing about this world-class collection of wrecks. You don't have to be a techie to dive them. No dry suits or double 80s required. Just the common sense to stay within the envelope of your training, experience, skills, and equipment. How can you miss the star of the show? The Hyde is famous for her sand tiger sharks, surrounded by those hundreds of little fish. With rows of pointed, protruding teeth, the sand tiger, also known as the ragged-tooth or gray nurse shark, looks ferocious, but it's a quite docile creature. The visibility wasn't that good during the first dive. The sharks wouldn't see us. They would get too close before swimming away at the last minute to avoid colliding into us. When you observe sand tigers, you feel that they barely swim. Unlike other sharks which never stop moving to oxygenate their system, sand tigers do not require speed. Swimming in low gear is enough for them to get their dose of O2. The Hyde is close to the surface in the overall ocean metrics. It is exposed to high salinity, oxygen concentration, and fairly warm temperatures. The more salt in the water, the faster the decay rate. Salinity causes metal ions from the ship to enter the water, which weakens the metal. Oxygen is another major factor in the corrosion of metals. Metals plus oxygen produce metallic oxides, and metallic oxides are weaker than pure metal. Water temperature also plays a role in the decay rate of a shipwreck. Higher temperature water means the water molecules have higher kinetic energy, which is the energy of motion. Enough about the nerd stuff. We're here to have fun. Many of the normal North Carolina fish are found on the wreck of the Hyde. But Gulf Stream waters have had an effect and caused many fish species often found in southern tropical waters to take up residence on the wreck. The Hyde is a perfect blend of East Coast experiences, combining wildlife from southern waters with that of the Central East Coast. The less enjoyable moment of all dives, the end. Aquatic Safaris, located in Wilmington, operates daily trips to the local shipwrecks. Their experienced team, including boat captains and crew members, makes sure everyone is safe and comfortable during trips.